Thought I'd do a quick baseball showdown show before I head over to my family's to watch the Dodger game. We have Dodgers and Mets here. I should put my lucky little Dodger hat on. Dodgers Mets, ugly day, 52 degrees, wind blowing left to right, but slightly in from left. I already think that you wanted the lefties more in this game, and I think so even more now with a couple exceptions I'll talk through, and I'll get into my exposures. I ran some builds. This is basically the build I used. I made a couple of hand builds that were a little bit different, so I actually have a little bit slightly different ownership on some of these guys. But just let's start with the pitching. If these ownership numbers are anywhere near real for the captain, I think we can throw these guys out to some extent. You can see I have one lineup with each of them. If I had to pick one, it would probably be Severino, just because I don't think the strikeout upside is quite high enough for Buehler. Maybe he surprises us all and flashes back, but even back then he's never really been a strikeout guy. And I could see, things getting a little bit, it's hard for me to see him scoring huge tonight. You can see that these are going to be the two highest owned plays. So I guess one of my biggest things on this slate is to basically ignore Severino and Buehler, to not ignore them as a captain, but basically, you see one lineup of 30 that I've got with them as captains. I just don't think we need to do this. I think there's plenty of other ways to go. And I do not necessarily buy into Severino or Buehler tonight. And at the same time, I don't feel incredible about the offenses. It's not great hitting weather. And so it's kind of a weird one, but I found myself using a lot of the relief pitching in the flex, and I will show you my exposure as far as captains go. And now that I've actually tightened things up a little bit with some of my hand builds and what I got and all that, I'm very high on. I'm very high on like Alonso is completely owned Buehler. It's only he's got 4 home runs and 15 at bats. I know it's not a big huge sample size, but he profiles as someone who would, and he can hit the ball the opposite way. We've seen those opposite field home runs already this postseason, and it's harder to get one out to left. If there's a guy strong enough to do it, Alonso would be my guy. You can see after that, Alonso and Shohei are my two highest owned. They're both going to be a little over 20% for me, so that makes up the bulk of it. Lindor, in the script, I got to Nimmo. Did not get to him in any of the hand builds or any of my whittling down, but I really do like Lindor, and I do like Nimmo in the matchup. He just can barely walk, so you're not going to get the stolen bases. I wanted to force in some Tommy Edman, just because I think there's stolen base. There's great stolen base upside for both sides, by the way. Both Severino especially. You can steal on him. You can run on him. The question is, will they choose to pull that trigger? They haven't really gone to it much in the postseason. I think tonight's a reasonable bet. So I liked Edman. I initially wanted to get Winker, but my Winker has now turned into JD Martinez a little bit. Otherwise, you get the Mookie, Alvarez, Freeman, Severino, Muncy, and I do have one Evan Phillips captain. A little thin probably to use the relievers as captains in general, but one out of what's going to be 30 is not going to be a huge deal for me personally. So getting into the flex again, I'm very high on Shohei tonight. I think that he's more likely to steal tonight. I also use tremendous power upside against Severino. Severino has not been impressive to me at all for his last few starts, even though he kind of got away with it a little bit a couple times. I'm betting that does not happen again. So I am going to. This is where I'm sort of overweight. On FanDuel, even I have Lux as captain some. I like Lux in this matchup quite a bit. Again, I want to go with the lefties. You can see I'm extremely lefty heavy in where I wanted to go. And then I did get some exposure to Buehler and Severino because points do matter, but I wanted to make sure I was below the field, which I accomplished. And I'm going to be well below the field overall when you factor in the captains. I just think that there's better ways to build without those guys. I'm sort of playing roulette a little bit with the relievers, because that's sort of what you kind of have to do if you're multi-entering in DFS. You can take a stand on a reliever, but I don't think there's anybody I'd feel so strong enough. You can see my highest owned reliever is Reed Garrett, but I've got Evan Phillips, Blake Trinan, Banda, Kopech, Hudson. All of these guys are making it bright. Brazier a little bit, Danny Young, Matan, Diaz. I'm getting look, I don't have a ton of ownership on any reliever, but I do sort of have them spread throughout my lineups, whether I'm using the starting pitcher or not. So that's sort of my strategy of how to play this one. I'll show you real quick what I got on FanDuel and just see if it jives with you guys. This is not, it's in the flex for saving. So for MVP, again, Lindor, Alonso, Shohei makes perfect sense to me. I think it makes perfect sense to a lot of people. They're going to have some ownership, but I think that they are the best captain options. And like I mentioned, I have some Lux, Freeman. I think those are the guys that get overlooked a little bit. And then I have a ton of Muncy in the star position. It might be better in general just to play Muncy as the MVP if you're going to do it. I was trying to think about this earlier, like why wouldn't I end up with more of him at MVP? Because you're sort of betting on him to hit a home run. The odds that his 2 walks in 1 single game get you as the MVP are not going to get there. But I still think could be valuable enough for a star. So I've sort of went back and forth on that. You kind of need someone else to hit a home run if Muncy hits a home run, because literally that's what you're playing him for. You're playing him for that home run upside. And so that's where I got to anyway. As you can see, other than Pete Alonso, we went heavy on the lefties, tried to use a few little cute plays. But that's essentially what I'm doing. Pop in any questions or thoughts of what you guys are doing. I just wanted to show you sort of how I was building today and using my exact stuff. And by the way, I want to remind everybody, we do have the $10.99 free 3-day trial for the SaberSim Ultimate Package. It's got every single thing that SaberSim has to offer. All Sheets' projections, which have been the nuts all season. Goldie's projections, which have also been the nuts all season. You have all my content, all of Rhodey's content, Brandon Cruz, who's the man for NASCAR, a lot of stuff. So I would encourage everybody to check that out. And like I said, I'm going to keep this video fairly short. Unless anybody has anything they want to chime in with, I love seeing you guys get in here. Please give us the like and subscribe and all that. You know, we like to try and do his shows whenever we can, as Sheets proves with his League of Legends and his tennis slates. He'll do it for everything when he can. So I wanted to pop in here and just say what's up to our people. And talk about what I was going to try to do to make some money tonight and see where you guys stood on that, because I feel pretty settled in what I'm doing. And I honestly, actually, now that I look at it, I don't think I have enough. How many lineups did I end up typing in here? I think I ended up not putting enough lineups in. That can't be right, can it? No, I must have the right number here. All right, let's see where we're at with the relay throw. All right, let me just see real quick. Did I get all my 30 in? Yeah, I did. Never mind. I've got my whole 30 in. For some reason, this build, I think, was run. No, that's right. It was run with 30. Yeah, that makes sense. My math wasn't mathing for a minute there, and that always freaks me out. Yeah, this is essentially what I built. You could argue that I should take a stronger stance. It's hard when you're already taking a stance against the starting pitching as a captain, and that's going to eat up more than half the ownership. I think you can afford to be spread out more at hitting, which obviously is highest variance. But even still, I ended up, with my actual exposure, I have 20%. I think I have 22% Alonso and 22% Ohtani, 14% Lindor, a little less Nimmo, and then the other guys I have sort of sprinkled in. Forget Jesse Winker. I know he's not in the lineups today. I just wanted to. Early in the day, I wasn't sure all of a sudden why they would start JD Martinez and not Winker in a righty lefty when they had the opportunity. Maybe because the Dodgers only have one lefty in the bullpen, they're not going to have a chance to use Martinez off the bench. That's something that occurred to me, where they will have an opportunity to use Winker if they want to go that direction. Pretty smart by the Mets, in my opinion. I don't feel incredibly strong about this game. I predict the Dodgers will win somewhere in the 5-3, 6-4 type of range. But again, not great hitting weather, not something I want to bet the over on. Going to be hard for me to pick against the Dodgers in general here, but if there was a matchup that I didn't like for them, this would be the one. It's not Severino. It's just that I still want to see, and I know people say, oh, Buehler didn't deserve what happened to him. Yes, he got unlucky. The air and the base running thing with Machado last time, and then the air after, or the mistake by Rojas, whatever you want to call it. That wasn't his fault, but I mean, he didn't deserve to be his, but he still pitched 5 innings, had 0 strikeouts. I haven't seen the same guy who I saw a couple years ago that looked like he was going to be a future Cy Young winner. So I'm just a little lower on the pitching in general. And I think that's my best way of getting different, along with going out of my way to play, these you can see the expected ownership on these guys. If we're going to talk about sub 10% guys, let's load up on them. Even if a pitcher gets you 10, all of these guys with one swing can change that. So I'm kind of into the idea of using the hitting in the captain spot. Obviously, you have no choice on FanDuel, but stick with the lefties. That would be my recommendation. And the righties with opposite field power, those would be, I guess you could include Marte, but I would mostly talk about Alonso and JD Martinez, who I could see going the other way easily off Buehler. All it takes is one pitch, and that's what you're hoping for on a showdown slate in MLB. We'll have a bunch more shows coming up, but the fact that we did this, and this many people popped in just for a random we had no, didn't tell anybody what time to be here, didn't tell anybody what we're doing, and we still did it. So I'm happy you guys all showed up, and I would appreciate the like button. We love doing these videos for free. We did put some videos of Sheets' tutorials behind the paywall. If you are a member of our site, I suggest you guys do check those out. They're awesome. We're also going to be switching over to the new SaberSim, and we have it available already for us. And it's, again, you can just click on the button when you go to tools if you're a member. But I'm using the old version because I'm still a little more familiar with it. I'm probably about a week away, which just in time for NBA to get that rolling. So jump on in, come in and join us. Anybody with any questions or thoughts, you want to say what I thought, go ahead, let me know. I did do my over-under on, I just tweeted it out. I just tweeted out all of my over-unders for every team this year, who I liked and who I didn't. So check that out when you have a moment if you want to. It's kind of a fun list. Let me know what you think is what you disagree with and what I agree with. I also put in my bets for who's going to win each award. There's some that I really like. There's a couple of long shots that I really like. Here's a really weird long shot one. I almost got the Bradley Beal. I had Bradley Beal at 87.5 to 1 a couple years ago, and it took Steph scoring 40 a game for the last month on average to pass up Bradley Beal, who had him by like 2 points, 2 full points. It was pretty brutal. But 87.5 to 1, and my sneaky one this year is Cam Thomas is 50 to 1. Cam Thomas could lead the league in scoring this year. That sounds crazy, I know, but I'm just saying, if you're an NBA person and you understand how much volume that guy's going to get and how, when he plays, he's already a 25-point a game scorer as it is. Can he jump up a little bit for a terrible team that has nobody else to look to? I think he can. So I think Cam Thomas on a truly awful team is a really interesting long shot bet to be the highest scoring player in the league this season. He's my favorite long shot bet. The obvious candidates are the more reasonable ones, but I did want to throw that out there that I think that he's a really, really good bet. Anyway, so that's pretty much all I have for today. I'm going to go pick up my son. We're going to drive up to my family's house. We're going to go watch the Dodgers, hopefully win. And boy, man, I'm nervous about this series. I really want this Dodgers-Yankees thing to happen. And Sheets and I have a little deal going. So we gotta make this work. So appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Hopefully this was helpful. At least it gives you an idea of what I'm doing. Now, what you're doing, you're sort of seeing what the SaberSim has. I just think this ownership on the pitching is just pass. That was my way of getting different. Just pass on the pitching as captain for the most part. One lineup of each of them. Okay, fine, sure. But that's not enough that's nothing significant. I'd like to be overweight all the hitting, and that's where I went. So again, appreciate you guys. Please give us the like, whether you've seen this on Twitter or Twitter or YouTube. Click the like, the thumbs up. I don't even know why I said Facebook. Do people even look at Facebook anymore? The only people I know who look at Facebook live in the Midwest, or they're like my grandmother who's 95. Like, I don't know who else looks at Facebook. Really, where is this coming from? I know this is not really on topic, but not a whole lot to talk about on a 1-game slate. So not using any pinch hitters tonight. Just going to roll with the guys we've got. And then, as I mentioned, more than half my lineups have a reliever in it, and only half my lineups combined have Severino or Buehler, and that's all in the utility for the most part. As you can see, I'm below the field on them pretty much in all facets. I really want to bet on the hitting, even though I hate the hitting weather. And again, I did this early in the day, so I put 0 on JD Martinez because I wanted to see, and obviously it would change a lot of things if I just did put the total back and if I forced Winker out of there, because Winker is one that I was trying to force in when I thought that, hey, won't they start Winker against another one? No, they didn't. So that is what it is. Why is it not working? No, whatever. Anyway, we appreciate you guys. Good luck to everybody tonight. I'll be in the Discord for any site members who have any questions, problems, things. We have football coming up tomorrow that we're going to be doing. We'll do a live showdown with me and Brandon, and hopefully Sheets will join us. We will do an NFL first look for week 7. Should be a wild and crazy week. There's a lot of moves. There's going to be some questionable value, would be a nice way to say it. Some interesting value, but definitely some value that you're probably going to want to take. And about 4 or 5 really, really good games to target. So should be a fun one. We appreciate you guys very much. Click the like on the way.